Okay, welcome to episode 19, and the episode that marks 1 year of the Non-Fun Gerbils. I'm Luke.
And I am George.
And today we welcome Hackatao and their official speaker, Eleonora Brizi. As you know, we have been working together with Hackatao and you, our listeners, to come up with a very unique creation, Pending Gerbil. Hackatao came up with the name, you came up with the backstories, and we will announce the winner at the end of the show. So we took this opportunity to discover more about the duo Sergio and Nadia, their story, their process, their ethos, and we even put some of your questions to them. This was great fun and a very special episode. We hope you enjoy it.
Welcome to the Non-Fun Gerbils podcast, the show about digitally scarce gerbils, non-fungible assets, and the growing decentralized economy. We welcome to the podcast Eleonora, who is representing the Hackatao project, who are easily some of our favourite artists in the space. So Eleonora, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me and Hackatao.
So Eleonora, how did you end up representing Hackatao in this NFT space?
Yeah, so I met Hackatao through MOCDA, the Museum of Contemporary and Digital Art. And so I interviewed them for the museum. And then we're both, not both, we are three people because Hackatao is a couple. So the three of us are Italian. And we just started this, we got to know each other more and more. And we just started this collaboration. Like the time was passing by and, we understood that like sometimes, like creative people, so including artists are not very able to speak about their art since they are creating and making their art. And so I got into this role of this kind of like a translator for the audience. So I'm just their voice.
I think it's fantastic. That's the case, because it does mean that they can spend more time creating wonderful artwork, and in our case, creating a wonderful gerbil. I suspect, in your role representing Hackatao, you must have a fairly good idea about how Hackatao came to be as a duo, and how they found their way into this wonderful NFT space that we're in. So give us a bit of background on Hackatao.
Yeah, so first of all, Hackatao, they are a couple in life and in their job, which is to make art. So they met in Milan in 2005. This is more of their personal story. They met at a common friend's house, and like Sergio was telling me this, like the real story of the first time that they seen each other. So Sergio was very impressed by this Nadia, who is the other half of Hackatao, Nadia's yellow belt. And he said that she was emanating good energy, which she still does today. And so they just had a very good synergy. But at the time, she thought that he was together with their friend. And so, they just became friends. And then somehow, for weird reasons, they ended up in Milan to share the same apartment. But still, they weren't in love and they were just friends. And then he said that the podmarks came. So the little sculptures by Hackatao. And, all of you, I'm sure that all of you know the Dante's Divine Comedy. There is in the fifth canto, which is the fifth chapter, there is this lines by Paolo and Francesca that they fall in love while reading the book of Lancelot and his passionate love. And so he says, the book and writer both were love's purveyors. In its leaves that day we read not more. And so for Hackatao, the podmarks were their love purveyors.
Amazing. A duo and partnership forged from love. Well, what better start to such a partnership. That's amazing. And so, in terms of the duo, do you know how they conceptualize their work together? Do they have different roles, and how do those roles sort of sync together?
Yeah, so they really are like a Tao. So you understand this from their name, Hack, which is this spirit of the hackers to go, like under the skin and discover what's hidden. And then you have the Tao, which is the completeness of yin and yang. And so they really have these roles in their art, meaning that so Sergio takes care of the detailed drawn part that you see, and Nadia takes care of the colorful flat style one. And it was even talking about the fact that she gives him like a cage where he can draw inside, which is a very nice and necessary cage, because otherwise like creativity would be too extensive and it would get lost in his drawings. And so they really are like complementary. And even for for the pot marks, she came to him and obviously brought like contributions in terms of like actual art with her flat style, and in terms of like how to deal with him for a better creation.
Great. So it's a sort of synergy between the two of them, and they bring different skills to the table, and we get to enjoy the coming together of those two skills. It's fantastic, because they do have a very clear and distinctive look and feel. And has that developed over time? Maybe there was previous work before the NFT world came along. How does it look, the sort of the before and the after, and how did that style develop?
Yeah, so first of all, they're not so-called native of the digital, if we want to say so. So they are like the physical artists. So when they met, they were both coming from like the drawings and paintings and photography and everything. So very much analogic and physical. And yeah, but they said that obviously the style, I mean, it's even now, it's like it's been evolving, but it evolved a lot. For instance, when they moved in 2012, they moved from Milan, which is where they met and where they entered the art world, and like they studied their projects. They moved to the mountains in the north of Italy. And even there, like they said, that these colors became brighter, and, like the threads of the inks became more, became stronger. So it's a continuous evolution until when they even got into the NFT world. And so digital, which was always there, even for 3D models of their art pieces and sculptures, but like it's a continuous evolution, digital. And then when they have new tools, like Hackatao, they really don't care about the tools as long as they are curious about it and they can afford some contribution to what they want to do. So it can either be like, for instance, a few months ago, they used like VR with tilt brush for the first time. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it can help their creation.
Yeah, well, they've really embraced the GIF movement. I don't even recall I've seen a static piece. There's always something. There's always something to catch the eye and express an expression through the movement of the characters that they create. And I guess that's also part of the signature look and feel. I imagine there must have been a bit of a learning curve. I mean, that's what artists do, isn't it? They have to understand and use these tools. But was there a significant learning curve for the duo as they started exploring what the digital world had to offer?
Well, why do they use GIFs and not static? First of all, because it's one of the biggest contributions of digital. It's like you have this tool, you can animate. So why you don't want to use it? It's like, they said that they want to tell stories. And so although it's a limited, like 4 or 5 second story, you can still, tell something with movement. And also like the animation is able to add this new dimension to the art pieces, and as I was saying, like he makes them alive and they become something else. So although like sometimes it comes from a canvas or drawing or anything, but then it just becomes animated. I think it's just mainly it's Sergio that takes care of the animation part, but it really came to them as a okay, now he can move and he can tell something.
I love that. It adds such a rich dimension to art, having the ability to move it, and you get so much more expression options available to you. Could you speak a little bit about the podmorks themselves? Where did that idea come from? Because they are, would you describe them as sculptures or statues, or are they a character that has been developed by Hackatao, or is it something else? Is it a character that's come from something else?
I believe that Sergio was working on podmarks first. So he said that when Nadia came, she really, she brought a big contribution to it, and she fell in love with these little creatures. And this is really like the beginning of everything, like the love for each other and the love for each other's art. And so she just gave more character to the creatures, like with her, with the colors and everything. And also, it was the first time that, that they had this call from a big gallerist in Milan, and he wanted the podmarks, and they sold out. So it was really their access and starting the adventure into the art world. Are the statues or sculptures? I don't know. Podmarks are this independent creatures that everyone is curious about, and I always ask about them because they're very you don't really get it. It's like, well, what is this? Because they are. It's a family, but they're all different, and so apparently they are this. They're like totems. So it's like they bring good things, protect you from bad things, but they're also Sergio was saying that they're also bring out what's the demons that are inside us. So you just put it on the surface on these little sculptures, and then hopefully you'll feel better. Podmarks are another whole story that that they have been working on, and they have been developing that.
When I first saw them, I've always thought they looked like something that's come from a Studio Ghibli movie, a sort of mythical creature. And I thought that the styling reminded me of that kind of mythology.
But it's so interesting that you say that, because everyone who's looking at those have their own take on that. We had this interview with the Chinese community, and they were they really look like this, the Chinese frogs, or these Chinese animals that were protecting the Forbidden City or the houses from the bad spirits. So they really have this function of I don't know, goodness.
Protectors.
And they're incredibly detailed. You can spend a long time looking at I guess you'd call it the skin, because you can zoom in and really look at the level of thought and detail that's gone into producing the shape of the body. So there's so many layers to a Hackatao artwork, and so many different ways to enjoy the image. I guess I'm fairly layman in terms of the art world. But I look at some things from time to time, and this is really embarrassing. I can go to these, beautiful museums and look at things that are just mind-blowing, and I think to myself, wow, that must have taken a really long time. Do these artworks take quite a lot of time? Because obviously there's some serious detail that goes into producing the shapes of these characters. I'd love to know the kind of the process of time and energy it takes to bring one of these to life.
They do. So first of all, you said so yes, it's one thing is the time, one thing is the energy, and another thing is the time that have been taken since they got to the final, okay, this is how a podmark is going to look like. It's years and years of experimentation, like the Hackatao style. So even if, and it's not the case, but even if now it's going to take a week for them to, to paint and draw a canvas, but the time that there is behind that of like, again, months and years of experimenting with different inks and paper and like chemical products that cannot like don't damage the inks is so long. But even and then the energy as another time frame. And for instance, because I have my own gallery that deals with digital art and crypto art, and so they created two canvases for my gallery, and it takes a long time because, like, first of all, they're very accurate in picking the subject, so the content of the art piece. It even takes a pretty long time for them to agree. You know, it's always these two very complementary but different opposite energies, Sergio and Nadia. So it takes a long time for them to even agree on, okay, so we're going to do this. Like, what are we going to talk about this time? And then you have like the putting of the idea on paper. And so like she doesn't agree because, you know, like it's not like perfectly, I don't know, like dimensions, they want to change the dimensions. So the before creating process already takes time. So before of the creation, when they had to reach this point where they even have a style, it took an even longer time. And then the creation itself, it's still very detailed because Sergio. And a fun thing that they always say is that people might think that like he's going to take a longer time to make his part than her because you just see this very perfect flat colors. But Nadia is like put in like 100 layers of color, so it looks very pop and perfect. So it's very balanced. But yes, it takes time.
Amazing. And are they having sort of developed this look and feel and put the time and energy into building a very specific run of artwork, I suppose you could say? Are they now fully concentrating in the sort of the digital NFT space, or is there another arm to their work which ends up in physical galleries somewhere? How are they splitting their time?
No, they do both.
Yeah.
They smartly do both. First of all, because like conceptually speaking, they don't really see this division between, you know, like physical and digital, because also if you look at their art pieces are not even divided anymore. It's like you have a canvas, but you scan with Artivive app, and you have the AR animation with music, and then it's connected to the NFT, or vice versa. You just have the NFT, but it comes from paper. And, you know, now we are even experimenting, like selling their NFTs on mural canvases, which I love. And I am like promoting, you know, like for creating these bridges for NFT collectors. Okay, you're going to put it on your wall. So now you're trying to get familiar with a physical, and the opposite. Okay, you just want a canvas, but now you have to scan it and you will have an NFT. So eventually you will have to open a wallet and understand what's going on with the blockchain. So they don't, like, conceptually, they're very connected. And like from the marketing point of view, I also agree with them, because you never know. Like this fact of completely abandoning the art world for the NFT world, they're very consistent about the blockchain, but they exist. They have a gallery representing them here in Italy. They only do physical.
Yeah. I mean, that makes total sense, doesn't it? And people's careers span a range of galleries and a range of art representers, and they have networks themselves, right? And so it's important to keep those networks going. It must be a fantastic thing, I'd imagine, for an artist or an artist duo to find a new, untapped to a degree, realm of experimentation that has scarcity baked in thanks to this technology. Talk us a bit about, were you there the kind of the gestation of it all? Was there a lot of excitement from Hackatao in discovering digital scarcity and this, effectively this whole new realm of opportunity opening up before them?
Yeah, so I wasn't there. I didn't know them yet when they got into the blockchain magic world. But so it was 2006. It was 2018. And Sergio was saying that, like, they were, because they live in this north region of Italy on the mountains, which is not very touristy or anything. And he said that, like during winter where nature rests, all, like, everybody is resting with nature. And so you have more time to concentrate on what you like to study and to learn things. And so he was reading this magazine, which is called the Scientist. He read again about the blockchain, but this time was in a more extensive way, because until that time, it was just about Bitcoin and investments and everything. And so he said that this article was very interesting this time, and that at the end of the article, he felt like, okay, this could be, like, this is what he thought, like, oh, this could be applied to art. And, like, this would be perfect for scarcity in digital art. And so I just Googled, like, blockchain and art, and he got to the Jason Bailey Art Nom, the blog. And our amazing Jason Bailey, he studied everything in terms of curation and, like, explaining to mortals what crypto art is. I believe at the time it was calling it rare art, but then it switched again to crypto art. And so Sergio just emailed him saying, like, like, we're we're an artist duo, and, like, I thought that I had an intuition, but then I reached your blog, and so this is our art. And then Jason Bailey it's all very connected. Jason Bailey just put him in contact with Super Rare, who didn't launch the platform yet. So it will be, like, launched in maybe a couple of months. And then, like, Super Rare liked a lot Hackatao's art. And so for the launch, they asked them to show their art, and the rest is history.
Oh, wow. So they were there right at the beginning with Super Rare. That's very cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned rare art and NFT art and crypto art there. It's worth talking about the terms that we use, because there's quite a lot of different terms in the space. Quite often there's crypto art, scarce digital art, NFT art. But what is each of those to you? I mean, how do you translate those?
To me?
Yes, as a curator.
Yes. As a curator, I'm a little bit fed up of all these names. I would just love to call it art, which is very much enough. You don't really have to call it in any other way, but now, I mean, we're still at this stage where we need all these names. So we were even making, like, jokes about this, like, okay, like, asking again Jason Bailey, like, are we gonna call it rare or crypto? What do you prefer? Well, maybe for now crypto is better because of crypto. It's like, if you ask me, it's all the same. Non-fungible token, it's rare, it's scarce, it's whatever. We should talk more about the art. And then I am all about the blockchain, which is this amazing technology and tool that gives, again, scarcity and so value to the digital art pieces. But, like, I have been trying to explain this to people since 2 years, like, for 2 years now, 2.5 years. And in the end, I just have to use these words that I've just used with you. They don't care if it's rare or crypto. You just have to explain them that the new language of art is digital, and digital is replicable. Like, you can download it and you can copy it. And so there is one way to make a piece unique, which is it's nothing that a certificate of authenticity in paper that a gallery gives to collectors. It's nothing else than that, but it's digital, and so it's a total. And so this is how I see it.
That's great. I'm not gonna worry about fumbling over using the correct term in the future anymore. I will just it doesn't matter. That's not the focus, is it? So
yeah.
During that process, I'm interested to know how do people who've never come across, let's call it crypto art, may have come across digital art, but are on the fence about the fact that you can copy it and so on and so forth. Do you find it that people kind of do understand the difference and sort of come on side, because you are obviously involved in curating and showing digital art. Tell us a bit about how you can bring people's hand over to the other side, to the digital world. Do they come willingly often, or is it an educational thing that just has to happen over time, or do people just jump right in and go, wow, I didn't know this was possible, I'll have that one and that one? How does it feel?
Well, it's been difficult. So the people who jumped in there in 1 second are people who are technical. Mm-hmm. And so they get it, but then it's so hard to let them get the art part, honestly. And people who come from a more like either like interested in art or not interested in art, but just like interested in the thing, but maybe they're not collectors. I mean, at least that they want to talk about the art. It's so difficult. Dictions are becoming more and more legit. Actually, it's like, so the NFT art is a little bit too, and which is art. This is why I believe that it is art, because art is always in the future. It's not in the past. It's in the future. So artists and art are these people who can see the future earlier. So we all are in the present, but they're already ahead. But it's a little bit too ahead to let people like understand and completely embrace it. So my take on this, because I have tried to bring people in the purest way at the beginning, but it doesn't work. And you just have to do a little bit of like create this little bridge of it really works like this. Otherwise, it's not. Like, for instance, I was at Hackatao Art Fair in New York 1 year ago, and I was selling the tokens. I was showing the digital art on the mural canvases, and I was selling the token. And then this woman came to me, and she was like, "How much is it to ship it to Houston?" And I was like, I'm selling the art. I'm not selling the screen." But I thought that it was a cool answer, but it wasn't, because it's like you cut the interest of a person who at least she got it because she was interested in the art. Otherwise, she would never ask. But they still need, okay, you want to see it on a screen? I understand that, because I'm telling you, I think that at the end of the day, even those who say that they don't like to see it on a screen, they want to see it on a screen. Because it's very nice to have it like on your wall. So now everybody is coming with these murals because it's nice. It's art that you collect, and it's a nice experience for the spirit. So for me, you just have to, and like these NFT people, they need to be taken down to earth, because otherwise they're going to stay in this what I call nerd land, and there's not like interaction with the art world, and then you will always have I don't know, like bankers or tech people buying NFT in series of 1 of 23, and then you will never have like artsy people interested in your work. So why? Because it is art, and I really believe in the new aesthetic. So if you want to, you have to bridge the new aesthetic, both sides, and then in the future it will be different, but we're not there yet, I think.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I think you're absolutely right. There has to be a meeting of minds. Both sides have to come towards each other to a degree, and sort of understand that there are going to be elements to both sides that a compromise has to be found to a degree. So people want to show their art. It doesn't necessarily display incredibly well on a small smartphone. But at the same time, I understand the idea that the token has value, and I can display my art collection on lots of different kind of media, or not at all, and I can just have it in my wallet and know that it's there. I guess what we're all doing is going on this journey to understand how this unfolds. and you must have a very interesting viewpoint, actually, watching the Hackatao get so deeply involved in the NFT space, but whilst at the same time running a gallery and being a curator in the physical world. It must be a very interesting viewpoint. Let's hope we succeed gradually over time.
We will.
Yes, of course. I think so, because the richness is there in terms of the artwork that's coming out. There's so much work that's interesting. But also, I'd be interested to get your take on this. We're spending more and more time in the digital world, especially with the rise of virtual reality, and that's getting to a point now where things are beginning to get really interesting. Do you see gradually over time a move towards the digital far more than the physical, considering what our youth of today are spending their time doing?
It is a difficult question that requires an impossible answer, but I think actually after COVID-19, it's not that I don't believe in virtual, and I don't think that we are going to be in virtual. But if there is one thing that I've understood from this virus, though, is that it will never, ever be possible to abandon the physical space. Because, as this is what I say, it's the thing that my gallery wants to say, is that we are containers of souls. You cannot just eliminate your physical dimension because it's who you are. It's like you have your soul, which is digital, right? It's the digital part, and then you have your container, which is the physical. But eventually they really are, they live together, they exist together. So I don't think that we will ever switch completely to digital, which I was more convinced before the virus. But then after what happened, it's like people just want to meet and be together. And it's an instinct. And even art, of course, it's about communication. It's about taking possibilities, communication. If you don't see the potential and the beauty of the digital, you are stupid. Right? Because it's like
I'm with
there. It's like it's there. So you're just oblivious. So you are blind, right? You just don't want to see things and progress and future. So I'm not saying that. But if you think that you're going to be able as a human being, so based on your nature, to completely abandon the physical sphere, I don't think that's possible. So yes, I think the virtual reality, it will be it will develop more and more. He brought all these amazing, we kept doing art shows during COVID-19. It was amazing. All these people at these openings with, in Decentraland or Crypto Voxels with digital wine, which I am not a big fan of. I prefer the wine. And so, and eventually it's I think that they will always coexist. That's what I think.
That speaks to the sort of the Tao element again, doesn't it? I mean, digital exists now and virtual reality exists, and things are mutually independent in the art world, and things are flowing and they're constantly changing as well. So there's no stillness there. There's a constant intermingling between, flowing more towards the virtual side or more towards the digital side whilst we're all locked down. And then I'm sure there'll be, once we're out the other side, people will want to go out more and be physical more. And then it'll, I'm sure, wax and wane backwards and forwards and find its balance.
Maybe the thing that sits in the center of the Venn diagram, and this is a physical display of digital art. I don't know. I think maybe that's the thing that sits in the middle of it all. But then you end up in a funny situation where perhaps you have to educate people in the sense that why is your picture moving? Why is your TV showing art? You'll end up in a situation like that. But I think that place is yet to be fully explored.
Yeah, but education is fundamental. It's right. We really need that. I mean, we need that more than our future people who are the very young people who are already very much educated about it. I always look at them if you want to know what's going on, I mean, these people are people who are going to vote if voting will still exist in 10 years. But like, it's if they are like, if you talk from like on our market perspective, they are the future collectors. So again, like, you have to see where we are going to. And if you think about society or the future of the world, you also have to look at them. So they are like, education is fundamental for those like us who are in this intermediary time, but the young ones, I think that they will get it. I was just saying, I'm not saying bad things about the digital. I am in it with, like my whole life. I'm just saying that even as you said, like maybe like a digital, like a physical display or digital, whatever you want to do, just be open enough to understand that they exist both. Otherwise, I don't think that you're going to succeed.
Yeah, I think that's probably a very pragmatic view of what's to come. Well, sort of taking a wider viewpoint, I suppose. What are your thoughts, or even, of course, Hackatao's thoughts on what the role of art is in society? Generally, like, is it to invigorate people and explore the meaning of life in various ways, but also to express human emotion and derive emotions from artwork? I guess it's all those things as well. But from your viewpoint, what do you think is so important about art in society, especially with the backdrop of COVID-19 and the fact that all humanity has been through this thing together, which don't want to go on, but it does seem truly extraordinary that we've all experienced the same thing globally. Every single human being has effectively felt this tremor, and maybe art is an important part of how we synthesize that experience.
Well, if you consider like Hackatao, so from like a pure creative artist point of view, they always say that what they do. So let's talk about the role of the artist. It's like they take in all these things from the world. It's like a flux, right? It's a stream, and like. It's a circle stream, and they take things inside. It can come. It's like it's emotions, it's experiences, it's news, it's everything. It goes inside them, and they kind of like read it and sort it out through their filters. But they always give it back to the world. That's what they say. It's like they never take it for themselves. So the artist takes a lot, but then it gives back to the world. And the way it gives it back to the world, like, I think that, again, artists are people who, we're talking about real artists, people who are in the future, that can see the future. And so what they give you, like, that it's a vision that you might not be able to see. And like, if you talk about COVID-19 during this time, what I was like sending out letters to the artists I work together with, like, okay, we have to do something, because again, like we are trying to find a vaccine for the virus, but we need a vaccine for the soul. And I think that art can really fit this role. I don't know. It's a very old story what art does in society. It depends on how you treat it. Like, I used to work for Ai Weiwei for many years in China, and for him it's politics, because what is politics? It's everything. So it's very involved. It's like immigrants. It's society for him, but it's not only that. And then it depends on the takes, but eventually it's artists are speaking about truth. Doesn't matter from which point of view. Truth. Future, it's an elevation for your soul, I think.
And so I guess to bring it back to Hackatao and their vision, where do they intend to take Hackatao next? Do we know? Is it further into the NFT space in terms of trying to experiment with I don't know, 3D imaging or the other tools that come with it? Is it also collaboration? Because as Luke and I know, the Hackatao are clearly open to collaborating, which is wonderful for us and for many others. Where do they intend to take things from here?
Well, I've asked them this question as well, and they don't really know about the future, but what they know and they are sure about is that they want to keep doing what they're doing. It's like these people came from, they've done so many jobs, and finally they do what they want to do. They think that you should do what you want to do, because if you don't do that, it's even gonna take more time for you to accomplish things. And like Sergio was saying, maybe if you ask me to create something, it's going to take me one day, and if you ask me to put this pen from here to the other corner of the table, it's going to take me a week, because I don't want to do it. And so they're very happy in their condition, and they want to keep doing this. And then concerning the tools, as I was saying, they have been experimenting. So now, Super Rare added this 3D function that they already experimented with the last diamond that they created. The Podmark, digital Podmark in VR. Hackatao, I believe that if tomorrow a new tool is going to come up, that they're just going to use it. So this is where they're going, I think, towards newness.
Well, I guess that's very apt, isn't it, for being so popular in this particular area. I'm sure they're popular outside of it, of course, but they do hold quite a major place in the hearts of this early scene. I mean, you can see that by how the community participated in the Nifty Gateway work that they did, and you can see that the demand for their work is very, very high, which is hugely gratifying for them. So it makes sense that they will continue to explore this space as much as possible, because it's giving everyone and themselves what this space is all about. So it's really fantastic to see it all take shape.
There were a few questions that we sent over to you to specifically ask them particular things. I think we've covered most of them actually just in our conversation, but one of the things we asked is, do they have any maxims that they live by?
Yes. So one was the main one was the what I just mentioned, which is the fact that you should do what you like to do and it's natural for you to do. So you should do things that don't make you tired, but in spirit. Just follow your nature. And then yes, respect, other people's thoughts. But if we talk about their art and their life as artists, I believe the first one is the main one.
Speaking to that, actually, when was it that they were able to actually go full time into art? How long have they been doing that?
So they when they met in 2005, Sergio was this creator, copyright at an ad agency, actually in many ad agencies, and also Nadia was art director of projects also in Milan. And then the time that they really decided that it was it was time to take a leap, it was when, as I've already mentioned, these galleries called them and the Podmark were sold out. And so they were okay, we're just going to take the risk. And they quit, both of them. They quit and they moved to Milan.
Amazing.
So 2012, I believe.
It's a very, very similar story to me. I was an advertising copywriter as well for 11 years, and I quit that to go into blockchain. Again, in 2011. So very, 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 very in sync with Hackatao, which is I'm thrilled to say. Amazing. We had a listener question also about how do you get hold of a physical podmark? Do they create?
Yeah. Well, what Sergio said is that you can ask for a podmark and then you have to be patient.
it might arrive, it might not. Depends on if the podmark wants to be owned.
Wants to manifest and can be owned. It's like, okay, so just ask and then you have to be patient. It could take months. That was the answer.
Well, it's interesting to see a question like that come out of the digital space.
Yes, I told you, everyone wants a podmark, which you want to put on your wherever, in the end it's physical.
Absolutely.
They'll be like the Fabergé eggs of the future. We opened up questions to it was inspired by actually Red Lion Eye came to us in Discord and said, can I ask Hackatao a question? And we said, yeah, okay, sure. What do you want to ask? And we can put it to them in this interview. And we decided to open that up to Twitter as well to see if anyone had particular questions. We've had quite a few come back. But Red Lion Eye started with, which artists do they admire individually and helps them form their style?
So they said that obviously they have learned a lot from art history. In the specific, they like Bosch and Bruegel because of their imagination, and then obviously Leonardo for his scientific approach and experimentation. Van Gogh for his love for art. But what I know, because we talked about this with them many times, is they like Sergio specifically. He really relates to Andy Warhol for many reasons, amongst which have the same birthday. And Andy Warhol, pop, innovative. And anything else that you can think that could have in common with Hackatao.
And the other one from him was, what are their favorite cartoons?
Favorite cartoons? I have Adventure Time, Captain Harlock, Star Blazers, Space Battleship Yamato.
All classics of their genre.
Brilliant.
That's wonderful.
The Adventure Time, has that been in some of their art at some point?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I guess I can see
Not good at cartoons.
You'll have to zoom in and dig deep into the skin of the podmark to find.
Yeah, the style there.
If it was, you will know. You will know. You just have to look for it.
Absolutely.
So VK Crypto asks, your actions in your art life associated with where the greatest opportunity lies?
So the way that I've understood this question is that he's asking, because he was he's asking if like the decisions that they make in their art have to deal with the fact, like if they see an opportunity, then they will make decisions. And if this is the question, the answer is no. They never follow opportunities in the meaning that they don't follow like money, right? Opportunities or like success opportunities. Obviously, if there are opportunities, they're going to follow them. But Sergio was like, a few years ago, they asked them to play like with auctions, to those little games that artists do sometimes, like to raise their quotation. But for instance, they didn't accept it, and that would be like a chance, an opportunity. This is how I understood the question, but I might be wrong.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Have there ever been artworks they've created that they haven't wanted to give back to the world because they liked it so much? Sometimes it's difficult for artists to let pieces go. Have they had that experience as a duo?
They have the Block Zero with them, which is the first, I believe, 3 ones. like the beginning of experimentation on canvases with their things, that they have those. But I mean, if you ask them, they will tell you that yes, like art pieces are like children, and every time because like this art piece really comes from, it's like, you have to give away a piece of yourself because eventually you'll create it through your filters. But then I think that they have very clear in mind what their role is. So I don't think that they keep them for them.
ZY asks, if you could select one of your own artworks to keep forever, which would it be?
Hackatao, I think that it's a cruel question to ask since they love all their works, and since it's like asking, which is your favorite kid, but maybe they can just pick one, and it's the Z girl, the zombie new generation, the girl. Because they think that they can try to free her in the world and see what's going to happen.
Brilliant. Well, and the Museum of Crypto Art came up with a counter question to that one as well, which was, if you were a zombie in a zombie apocalypse, which of your works would you choose to eat?
Yes, they said maybe they will eat the works that it took longer to make. Because there is more brain in there. And then the final answer was, so maybe all of them.
That's a perfect answer.
Yeah, brilliant. And Brendan Rell asks, Hackatao's favorite crypto art piece by another artist?
Yes, so many other artists that are successful in the space, and many other artists that they like. And they think that if some artists are successful, eventually there is a reason why. So it's very difficult for them to just name one. And also they think that it's not going to be very fair towards all these other participating artists, these other artists participating in the space, but that they appreciate each one for some peculiarities. But then Sergio said that since this answer could probably influence somehow, even though you shouldn't allow for it to influence you, but it will. So if you really want to be influenced, they like the Clouds by Fabiano Spezzari, who is this Italian artist, because he really believes in his art, and it's very detailed, and it gives like many levels of interpretation, and it's like technically perfect, and it mixes like 3D and pixel art and many other techniques. And then they also like Meromatic or Merzeromatic. I never know how to pronounce these names in the crypto space because you never know who they are. But because it's very complex, and you can recognize it at first glance, and because he or she uses 3D in a very original way. And then another artist that they like is Andetlu, also an Italian girl, because she's very refined. And yes, so they didn't want to give you some names, but they did.
Oh, well, hopefully that doesn't influence too many people too much, and skyrocket the prices of those pieces in the meantime. Brilliant. Well, yes, thank you very much for that. Oh no, there was one more. Sorry. Sats Moon asks what the Wi-Fi is like in the stunning Italian countryside.
The answer was, we are not in the countryside, we are on the mountains.
Well, we've covered a lot, and I think that we've come to understand Hackatao, the duo, and the art in a wonderfully more colourful way. So thank you so much, Eleonora, for describing to us some of the back history and also their aims and wishes and desires about how the art is created and put forward. And I think it's been a really interesting conversation. I think it's so important to put art, especially digital art, in context for people, because when you're just cycling through a marketplace, something like OpenSea, which of course is hugely important to the space, but sometimes you lose context. You're seeing artworks with games, and it feels so quick and easy, and it moves across the page. I think history and story and context are going to be something that we need to bring more of into the space in order for people to understand what's behind the art. So thank you so much for doing that for us today.
Thanks for having us. And yes, I agree. We need stories. That's the only way. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so let's move on to the pending gerbil.
Yeah, we got some absolute crackers for this one. Understandably, of course, considering the collaboration we've got on.
Yeah. This was a very, very difficult decision, and actually, we've got the top 5, but in no particular order. It's really difficult to say which one was the winner because they're all of very, very high quality. But obviously, a winner had to be picked. Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to it. But let's go with the top 5, shall we? All of these top 5 will be getting a pending gerbil, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So first out of the gates is the good news. Awaiting the opening of her cage, pending gerbil's anxiety is replete. She breathes, she thinks, and runs around. So Turing says she's complete. But is she alive or dead? Erwin has his doubt. He opens the lid to confirm the bid. Alas, no gas. She lives on, but can't get out.
Yeah, this is a wonderful poem.
Plenty of pendingness going on there.
Yeah, I like the idea that you can have a pending gerbil in a pending state. Is it alive or is it dead? In the kind of Schrodinger's cat.
That's the one. Schrodinger's gerbil.
And then the tragedy that you're left with the gerbil who is alive but can't get out. As that kind of knowledge. That is a tragic story. Okay, onwards. Let's go for Alan Falcon. Thank you for your entry. The gerbil went to put his NFTs up for lending because he'd found an opportunity for spending. But he found his wallet had been hacked and feared his collection had been ransacked. And then he saw the thief's transaction was still pending.
Yet again, it's a cracker from Alan.
Yeah.
Alan, thank you so much for all the time and energy you put into creating these beautifully creative responses.
And our first limerick as well. that really captures the idea that you think it's been stolen and then you see that it's still pending. And is it possible to then send another transaction to cancel it? There is hope.
Potentially.
Send something with the same nonce.
Yeah, you'd need to know have some fairly deep knowledge there of how to play around with the advanced features of your wallet. Right, so next one from Snotty Snake. Thank you for this. This is a tale of a love that could never be, of a gerboy named Pending and a gergirl named Brie. They met at the annual desert festival Burning Rodent, partied hard, smelt one another. Oh, what an event. When the time to part was there, Pending proclaimed, "I'll write to you, I swear." You see, much to Pending's frustration, his love letters never reached their destination, because every letter he was sending he ended with, "Yours, forever Pending." That's a love story, isn't it, Luke?
It is. It's a beautiful love story.
Thank you so much. It had lots of imagery, this one as well. We'd have been tempted to do a sort of Burning Man rodent festival, if that wasn't too weird.
Yeah, all of these could have made good images, couldn't they?
They could have, absolutely.
They really could. Okay, on to the next one. This one perhaps wouldn't have made such a good image, but it made it into the list out of sheer cleverness, because I thought it nailed it really, and it was a ballsy move. It was a brave move to put this in as your primary entry and not follow it up with another entry just in case. Yeah, well done, the Flaz. Pending Gerbil was, and that's it.
Well, you get full marks for that, the Flaz. That's about as pending as it gets. Nice one.
Yeah, okay. So, on to the winner for the second month in a row.
Oh, amazing.
So, Werkity won. Well done. Second month in a row. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Let's read it out. The pending gerbil drew his breath nervously. Fail. Dropped and replaced. There was nothing in this world he feared more. He looked at the cords that crossed the abyss in front of him. They were loaded with pending gerbils, clinging for their lives. No open space to be seen. The world machine creaked under the load as the wheel turned and settled on a new block. With a loud bang, the cords vibrated, and short shrieks were heard as tired paws lost their grip, and gerbils fell into oblivion. Pending gerbil closed his eyes, sent a short prayer to Vitalik Buterin. And took the leap.
Wow. That's by far the most dramatic gerbil we've ever had, right? I mean, that's amazing.
It is. It certainly living up to the non-fun gerbil title, because it's
it couldn't be more non-fun. Thank you so much, Werkity.
But it is exceptional.
It is exceptional, and it goes with the image beautifully, and you just couldn't evoke more pendingness. It's about as pending as it gets.
Yeah, especially when you listen to the description and look at Hackatao's gerbil swinging around. I mean, it's something very deep inside that it evokes a very sort of real connection to life and death and
having to wait for stuff to happen.
Yeah, and how we're all just hanging on a string.
Wow.
Hackatao said that this one, it really stood out to them, and they could instantly see the image in front of them that they wanted to paint or that they wanted to create. So, yeah, congratulations, Werkity. You have been enshrined in
crypto NFT history. Definitely reached the pinnacle here for our year anniversary. Couldn't have worked out better.
And also couldn't have worked out more pertinent to the gas prices this week, which have been the highest ever, potentially.
Yeah.
Excluding attacks back in 2016. Probably higher than then too.
Probably higher.
Everyone is feeling the pending gerbil right now.
That's right.
When it comes
totally.
to sending anything. So yeah,
perfectly timely.
A great call, Hackatao, on that one.
And it's probably going to cost us quite a lot to mint them, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So they may, the pending gerbil may be pending for quite a while.
So, George, we've got a few things coming up. We've got the whip tomorrow.
Yeah, hugely exciting. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, our end of year celebration and giveaway, and we've got treasure hunt gerbil. So yeah, if you're listening to this on Thursday, it's going to be tonight at 7 p.m. UTC. If you want a treasure hunt gerbil, which is looking amazing, by the way.
Amazing.
Come and join us on the Token Smart Discord and in Crypto Voxels, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Shout out to Matthew and Rizzle for having us on board that, and all of the team. And shout out to them for having us on their podcast. Definitely go listen to that.
Yeah, which was so much fun. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was awesome to sort of look back and deep dive into the philosophy of the gerbils, I suppose.
The thesis, Luke. Oh dear.
That was great.
Fun times.
And we've got another gerbil. Next gerbil. So,
we do.
Who's that going to be, George?
It's going to be forking gerbil, as demanded by our Discord.
Yeah, it was too popular to not do, and it's a really funny one. So, forking gerbil. Send us your stories.
Indeed. Can't wait for this one.
Oh, and one more thing with Treasure Hunt Gerbil. We actually I reached out last night to Third Man Design, to Gareth, and asked if he'd like to do the voiceover for the description. And so this morning he has sent me that voiceover. Yeah, so he's going to be reading, which is quite nice because he did Genesis Gerbil story. So we're sort of finishing off the year.
Full circle.
That's right.
Love it.
Awesome. So yeah, we're gonna have a fairly quiet August, but we'll catch you back at the end of August for the next episode.
Yeah, it's going to be a big year next year, Luke. Both for us and for crypto, it seems. Yeah, make sure you all tune back in for that. Maybe we'll have bull gerbil. That would be a weird one, wouldn't it?
Mega bull gerbil.
Mega bull gerbil. Mega bull moon gerbil. Come on.
Some kind of bull bear gerbil fight.
Okay, we'll leave this. We'll leave that for next time.
And yeah, again, thank you so much to Hackatao for embarking on this adventure with us. Yeah, and making it happen. And to Eleonora for coming on and chatting.
And to all of you for listening. Thank you for being with us the whole way through the year.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
Sure has. See you at the whip.
Cool. See you there. Bye.
Bye.